what's up? Jamie, that's me here. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, if you're a new subscriber or a long-time subscriber, then hey, bitch. And if you're not a new subscriber or a long-time subscriber, then you already know what to do. Go ahead and hit that subscription button. Okay, so we're about to get into Put a Ring on It, which comes on the OWN network, and we're about to discuss, go into that. I did watch episode 1. I did not review episode 1. I'm gonna try to glaze over episode 1 as I go ahead and review episode 2. So there's 3 couples, right? You have Mimi and Ulysses. They met a few years ago, like at this video shoot or whatever. And once they met at the video shoot, they've been together ever since, right? So you also have Hollywood and Ashley. They came up together, I'm believing, from like New Orleans. They live in Atlanta now. They've been together for about 9 years. He's proposed before, and when he proposed, he wasn't ready. And then I believe he proposed again, and they just have these issues with going back and forth of proposal, with him being ready and then not being ready, and her being ready and now she's not being ready. Hence the reason why they're here with the Dr. Nicole and the entire session. Then you also have Shay and Mike, right? So Shay and Mike have dated in the past, but Shay has been in his life, and then she was also like kind of dealing with or not really over her ex. So it caused her to kind of be in and out of the life of Mike, which is to some fault of Mike's as well, because he kept accepting her back whenever she would leave and come back to him, but that's what's been going on. Last week's episode, the ladies were able to go out on their own dates with these separate men, and the end result of that was they decided to not pursue another date. Now, Ashley she went out with somebody, I cannot recall the guy's name, but he was very, very handsome, very attractive, looked really good. The chemistry between the two was really good and everything, but she chose not to go on a date with the guy anymore because she started to really like him, and she was afraid of seeing where that could actually go. Like, dang, I may actually like him. If I continue to, date this guy, then it's gonna put the situation that I got going on in jeopardy, right? Mimi did not go on the date last week due to the situation dealing with her dad, so she was not able to go. But when it came to Shay and Mike, Shay went on her date. The dude gave her some really good information. She wants to be married. The dude wants to be married. She was telling him about her ex, and not her ex, but her current man, and how he was engaged to his ex. And the dude that she went on the date with was like, well, wait a minute, so you dating this man who has yet to propose to you, but he went on to be in a relationship with someone else, proposed to her because that's what that girl wanted. Listen, it seems as though that man does not want to be engaged. She don't want that with you. And that's what I would have took it as too. And she was just kind of like, well, dang, you ain't have to be so honest about the situation. Like, you ain't have to do that at all, And I'm like, well, at least he kept it real with you, girl. Okay. Now he's showing you what it is, but you ain't trying to see it. So if your feelings get hurt, girl, that's on you. Okay, so now we're on episode 2, right? It's the guy's turn to go on the dates now. Shay is really worried. She's nervous. She doesn't really want Mike to go on this date at all. However, she wants him to experience it as well. When it comes to Ulysses as well as Mimi, what ended up coming up is the fact that since she did not go on her date last week, and because of what's going on with her dad, they decided that he won't be going on the date either. Ulysses kind of looked slightly disappointed or whatever, and the reason for that is due to the situation of what's going on with their dad. So they think they should put their relationship first and really be there for each other, instead of him going out dating and adding more stress on Mimi, with having the situation going on with her dad and her man being out on a date with somebody else. And long story short, what it also resulted in, due to the situation with her dad, is that they decided to discontinue them from being on the show, just so they can go off and really focus on that. Now, my issue, and I don't know how this works, God forbid that I ever have to deal with this, but I really felt bad for Mimi when she got that call regarding, and I'm fast forwarding a bit. So Mimi received a call from the doctor regarding her dad. She also received a call last week's episode saying that, he recommended that they do a do not resuscitate. Now, her dad had a stroke a while back. He's been in the hospital, he's been suffering, and the doctor is, encouraging that they do a do not resuscitate. And she's like, well, I don't think we're going to do that. Okay. And that's what they chose to do, which is to not to take the doctor up on his order, which is like, hey, I think you should not resuscitate. She's like, no, y'all gonna continue to resuscitate my dad, so I tell y'all to stop. So then the doctor calls back again, and it's her on the phone as well as her sister on the phone this time, and the doctor is just telling them, like, I think it's safe that you guys at least say that we don't, perform CPR on him. And so I don't like how this stuff goes, and when I was listening to the call, I'm just like, is that how doctors really are? When you're about to lose your parent or your child and it's a do not resuscitate, they try to twist and turn and make you feel sad and this and that. Like, I just didn't like the call. It was very uncomfortable. He basically said, listen, if we perform CPR, you do understand that we're going to have to crack his ribs and we're going to be pressing so hard and we may puncture his lungs and we may do this and we may do that. And I don't think you want him in any more pain and twisting at her heartstrings only to turn around and say, oh, well, we want you to make the best decision for your dad, you know what I'm saying? Or not for your dad, but just make the best decision, whichever decision you guys think is right. And it's like, it don't seem like you're giving me much of an option to do what's right, because to me, what is right is to have y'all continue to resuscitate my dad. Like, if it was your mama, when you want somebody to continue to work on her or your dad, okay? So don't sit up here and tell me what you're just here to help me make the best decision and all this other stuff. But then on the flip side, you're highly and strongly encouraging me to have my parent just die. You know what I'm saying? Not kill my parent, but just have my parent just sit up here and just die. And that's a really difficult decision, So they got off the phone. I'm glad they did not make an immediate decision on the phone with the doctor. She and her sister got off that call. They had a call with each other. And her sister, now when her sister said it, I was kind of like, dang, I understand it. Okay, but coming from the doctor, I'm like, oh, ha. So the sister was like, listen, you haven't been there, but like I've seen dad, like he's frail, like he's skinny, he's this, he's that, she just started talking about his condition and where he is. And, that kind of made her break down. They made Mimi break down. And it was tough because they have to make this really tough decision about her dad. And in the confessional, she mentioned that her dad was X, Y, and Z. So I'm thinking that her dad did pass away. I'm thinking that they did decide to not, resuscitate him and take him off the breathing machine and allow him to pass on his own or whatever. But it was tough for Mimi to take in. It was tough for Ulysses to take in. He came in the kitchen listening to her, and then he walked out, and then he came back because she wanted him back. And you could tell in that moment he was just really having a tough time even managing his own emotions, let alone trying to, help her with hers. He said that he never had a dad. His dad was locked up in prison for 25 years. So when he met Mimi and met her dad was like, I got you. Like, I'll be your father. So that's his best friend. That's all he knows. So it's really hard for him. But the fact that he can get up enough strength, to really be there for her is good. So Dr. Nicole comes over and she checks on them. And, she's just there for them, checks on them, tell them to pretty much draw into each other, become closer to each other during this hard time. And that when it comes to her dad, like, this is a really tough situation. You're dealing with life and death, and your dad needs his children, and his children are going to need each other. So y'all going to have to lean on each other. And Ulysses, that's when he kind of like opened up more about how he was feeling, and he hasn't really had a chance to truly deal with his emotions or whatever, but he's going to be there for Mimi every step of the way. He's going to support her throughout this entire, situation of what's going on with her dad and beyond. I don't see Mimi ever leaving this man. I honestly don't even know what their true issues were to begin with. So I don't see her walking away from him, and I think that it is best that they take the time away from the show. But I hope that Dr. Nicole was able to continue to offer them some type of therapy or counseling services after this, because Mimi's gonna need that alone. You know what I'm saying? Just like outside of the show, like Mimi's gonna still need that, especially if she loses her father. So back at the ranch with everybody else, with the other two couples, Shay and Mike, as well as Ashley and Hollywood, Dr. Nicole is like, well, listen, it's time for the guys to go on a date. How are you guys feeling about it? And Ashley says, listen, I'm cool with Hollywood going on a date, girl. That ain't no problem with me at all, honey. No, it's not, because actually he proposed that after he proposed, okay? He the one who suggested that we go out and date other people. So now he gets the opportunity to do that. So who am I to stand in his way? I'm okay with that. Which is very interesting, because he didn't take that stance when it came down to her. On last week's episode, he wasn't really feeling that at all. And Hollywood says, well, when I did say that, I wanted to make sure that I was being the right man for her. Now, I'll be honest, I was scared. I wasn't sure, but I wanted to make sure I was being the right man for her. And I'm like, Hollywood, stop lying. You wanted to make sure she was going to be the right girl that she was going to spend the rest of your life with. Okay, you weren't doing her no favor. That was for you. again, Shay is nervous. She doesn't want him to do this, but she wants him to get the experience. You know, when it comes to Mike, Mike is still on this whole thing about marriage is not important to him. It's not important to him at all. He says that he's going to be with Shay forever, though. Like, yeah, he going to be with her forever, but marriage isn't important. And to me, what I got from that is I'm going to be with her as long as she allows me to be with her. Okay? Because Mike is so shut off in his emotions that it's whatever with him. And how far can you get with a person that's like, it's whatever? Okay, so Shay, you're going to have to figure out if he's not conforming to what it is that you want, you're going to have to probably cut your losses and let that man go out there and find somebody that is on the same page as him, not anxious about being married, and is okay with dating just like Tina Turner did with her man, okay? She was with that man for God knows how long, okay? I think, 60 years? I can't remember how long Tina Turner was with, or maybe I'm over-exaggerating. Maybe she was 60 when they got married. Maybe it was like 19 years or whatever. But Tina Turner was with her man for a long time before she married him. So there are women out here like that, okay, that are okay with just not being married. So maybe he needs to go off and find what it is he wants. And you need to also do the same thing. But we just gonna see how this all flow with the whole date situation. Hollywood is getting ready for his date. And Ashley said she done already mentally prepared herself to just not get upset at all regarding him going on his date. So he goes on the date. He meets a lady by the name of Britney. They sit down, have a great conversation. Based on her tone, it sounds like she may be from New Orleans as well. Very pretty lady. They're sitting down, engaging in conversation, getting to know each other. They done touched hands and praying over food and everything. I'm like, okay then. You know, he asked her, why you ain't got no man? And he said, you must be crazy. So you seem like the type that blow his phone up. Okay, you don't blow his phone up, well then you must be the type that'll slash his tires or break his windows or whatever. And she was like, honey, that ain't none of me, baby. Okay, queens, we don't chase people. That's just not what we do, okay? So I was glad that, you know, she told him that. He tells her, like, listen, it's been like over 8 years since I've been on a date. And she was like, really? Well, you're going to have to let me in on why that is. And so he tells her about, you know, Ashley and the fact that he proposed and how he wasn't ready and he had this going on, that going on. And she was just telling him that, you know, you can break the cycle of whatever your family history has been. Like, you could change that. And they just continue to talk and have good conversation or whatever. Now, Hollywood, you know, he's a big flirt. He is a big flirt, honey, okay? Because he was really into it when she said that she loves intimacy. Okay, and she likes sex, but she can't be out here just giving it away like that, okay? That's not what it's for. She can't do that. So she's going to have to clank, lock it down, buckle it down with somebody that wants to be with her. But they continue to have a really good conversation, and he goes home to Ashley trying to love up on her. She's like, oh, baby, don't kiss me, honey. Don't kiss me. Go on over there and tell me about your little funky date. How was it? And so he tells her that he didn't feel the spark or anything about her. Like, it wasn't like, like, it was like she was pretty, but she wasn't Ashley. You know, and he said he kind of was feeling like he was cheating or whatever at one point. And Ashley says, you know, that's cool. I understand that. I'm glad you had a good time. But this is what bothers me. What bothers me is the fact that I'm extremely okay with you going out on another date with another woman. And if that's the case, that says to me that somewhere in our connection, we have some damage going on there. And I'm like, it could be that, or you could be so comfortable and trust him so much that you don't think he's going to do anything anyway. You know what I'm saying? It could be that. It could be a few things. I don't know. So, and it could be what she said. And so once Hollywood heard this, he immediately gets on the defense about it. Like, he immediately gets in his feelings like, good, I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said that. Da, 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 da. Like, so now it ain't no bars hold. All that you want to touch and do all this or that when we go on dates, like, that's what we going to do. Because I'm glad you said that. And it's like, can you just be open and receptive to what it is that she's telling you? She's not telling you anything to hurt you, to harm you, to affect you. She's telling you things that could lead to y'all hopefully healing the areas in your relationship that need to be healed because of how she's feeling. But he does not know how to perceive that. And I don't know what's in his history or what he's dealt with that makes him be like, whenever she express herself, it's like, oh, okay, it's like that. You want to, he ain't trying to hear what she got to say. Like, what's going on with you? Can you not accept criticism? Hence the reason why you walk around like you the pretty boy that you are. Okay then. So when she's trying to be open with you, just let her be open. Don't say that I hear you, I'm here. Yeah, I want you to be open. I want you to be open, but your tone, your body language is saying, I don't want to hear none of that SHI. I'm tired. Don't say that to me. No. Okay? You don't have a right. You can't say that. You don't have room to say that. That's what you're giving off. okay? Instead of genuinely saying, okay, I hear you, let's talk, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So y'all gonna continue to be in like a circle of arguments and keep doing this whole thing if that's gonna be your response every time. So Dr. Nicole goes over to see Shay and Mike. The task for them was to think about something from the past that has been affecting them. And Shay says that, well, what she needs from him is like affection, okay? All she needs is some affection from him. He's not really giving her that. Sometimes she wants to feel wanted. She wants to see that he may even be a little jealous at times. Like he gives her no emotion. He lacks emotion for her. And that makes her feel like, you know, I don't think he cares about me. You know, I think if I leave, he wouldn't give a damn. I'm like, that's how he feels. And eventually we learned that some of that actually do make sense. He probably would not give a damn that you left because you've left so many times already. Like, what's new? Mike says that, you know, it's kind of hard for him to connect like that with people. He's been like that since he was younger because he's never really had that connection like with his parents as far as always telling each other that, you know, I love you or whatever. So he's been having challenges with that, which makes it hard, you know, for him to connect with other people. And that just makes me go back to Iyanla when it came down to Shay and her family. Although her brother is married, Dr. Joe, he still has issues of connecting with his family because he's so focused on his work or whatever. And he even talked about how they didn't love on each other and they didn't hug on each other and all of that. So to hear Mike say that and see how disconnected in a sense he is with Shay, that's interesting. It makes me wonder, what are you connected to? Like, are you focused on your work? Like, what's going on over there that is getting your attention when she's not getting it? So Mike does speak on her in the beginning, coming into the relationship, coming in and then leaving, coming back and then leaving. Now, Mike, I do think that Dr. Nicole should have called him to the carpet for accepting such behavior. Okay, what was going on within you that you continue to accept such behavior? But also on the other end, it's like, Shay, you got to understand that was a trigger for him. You know, that bothers him. Like, yeah, he wants you in his life or whatever, but at any moment he knows and understands what your history is and what your future could potentially be of you walking out that door at any moment. So he's trying to continue to have himself guarded. And I think that sucks that you've been in this relationship with this girl for however long you've been in this relationship with her, and you can continue to be emotionally shut down. And I feel like when you have relationships like that, it's not going to work out. It's just not. It's just, I just don't see it working out at all. You know, he's just using you there to say that he got somebody there. You know, it doesn't mean that he don't care about you. He may even love you or whatever, but he's not emotionally connected to you like that. So I feel like he's just dating you to pass time by, like until you make a decision that you're going to walk away, or until he truly mans up and tell you, listen, I can't give you what it is that, you know, you may deserve. I think in life, relationships should be like this or that, and I know that I'm inadequate to give you what you need, and I think I need to let you move forward and go wherever you need to go. So, at least that's what I think. You know, I don't think it's, I don't know about it being Shay for him. Dr. Nicole also tells Shay, you know, with this in and out, because Shay was a bit shocked when he told her that, when he brought up the in and out. She was like, really? You still affected by that? Seriously? Really? And Dr. Nicole is like, yeah, he is, okay? If you listen to him, he's telling you what issues he's had in his childhood, what you've done in the relationship. Girl, you set the tone for this, okay? You set the tone for all this back and forth behavior, so now he knows how to move with you. And she was like, you set the tone for when I leave, he shouldn't care, because that's just what you do. So that's on you. But I also think Dr. Nicole should have gave some of that energy over to him, because he has something going on within him that would allow him to accept such behavior of a woman coming in and out of his life like it's okay. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel like she put some of that blame where it also needed to be. Shay says that she wants to move past this phase. Like, she's so anxious to move past this phase, right? And she asked Dr. Nicole, like, what is it going to take? Dr. Nicole said, well, it's going to take him being vulnerable and being in a place where he feels as though he could trust you. You know, and that may take a little bit of time. But she also tells Shay, but you have to be in a place to where you can actually hear what he is saying to you, not what you think he's saying and not what you want him to say, and not the vision that you got for your damn self, okay? You need to really hear what this man is saying to you, acknowledge what he's saying, affirm what he's saying, and then figure out the right steps to fix the overall situation. I personally do not think that their situation at this moment on episode 2, I do not see the situation being fixed, especially if some of the blame is not placed where it needs to be on Mike. Mike goes on a date with a cute lady named Riley. Riley actually kind of looked like Shay to me. Goes on a date with Riley. They end up having quite a few things in common. She speaks on dating life in Atlanta, and she's just like, this life is exhausting. Like, everybody wants to date, want to date each other or something like that. And I'm like, girl, what part of Atlanta you in? Girl, what part of the skirts is you in that everybody trying to date each other? Riley asked him, like, what are you looking for in a relationship? And he's like, well, I'm looking to take things light. I'm not looking to get, like, in a marriage immediately. And she was like, oh, me neither. That's not what I want. He was like, yeah, I want it to take its time. But I do understand that what two people want may be the same thing. It just may not be at the same time. For me, I felt like Michael was dropping a few clues this episode that Shay ain't it. That's just, like, that's one. It seems like he was starting to think to himself in that moment, like, yeah, I know two people can, I want to be married at some point. I don't want to be married now. And I know that's what Shay really wants. Or shall I say, Mike likes the idea of being married, but I guess it's not that important to him, whereas that's what Shay wants right now. So I think he was just thinking, I may have to let her go because this lady over here look good. I know I probably want to continue to get to know her, engage in conversation with her, and whatever else. So I don't know. I felt like he was dropping a few things to let Shay know, girl, this ain't it. Shay says Mike going on a date really, really bothers her a lot. And she says it makes her wonder whether or not their relationship is actually where she thinks it needs to be. It's not, Shay. It's not. You have this idea of what you want for a relationship, and that's not what he wants. It's not. And it sucks. And I'm over here wondering, like, well, what is it that you really like about him? What are some of the things that you love about him? Okay? Because, and what's important? Like, do you really need that emotional support? Like, what is it? Are you with him just to say that you're with somebody because you can't be with your ex? Like, what is it? Because it's not the same. You have this idea of being married and having this, and that man not finna give you that, and I don't see it changing in a year, and I don't see it changing in 2 years unless something very, very traumatic happens to him that makes him change his whole way of thinking. It's just not gonna happen. So we get to the group meeting. Dr. Nicole updates everybody on Ulysses and Mimi not being a part of the show. For, the remainder part of it, they're going to discontinue them, but they're also going to bring in a new couple that we'll get the opportunity to meet on next week. Now, Hollywood gets to speak on his date and what he liked about the date, and he says that, he was nervous for a minute because he didn't think he still had the juice like that because he had been dating Ashley for such a long time. But what he liked about the lady was the fact that she was spiritual, she listened to him, she was pretty, all of that good stuff. She asked Ashley, well, what are your thoughts about it? How did you feel about it? She was like, well, I was glad that he went, but I was concerned about the fact that I was really happy that he went, and it didn't bother me at all. Like, I wasn't tripping at all. So then Ashley says, I feel like, if I'm feeling like that, then we must have some damage somewhere in our connection. And Dr. Nicole says, well, it could be that. It could be different reasons. A lot of times we act as though we're okay with things, basically to suppress some other feelings or to prevent some other type of feelings to come to the surface. But when you do that, you're actually doing yourself a disservice when it comes to wanting to heal and wanting to move past those situations. So it could be a lot of different reasons of what's going on with her when it comes to that, but they're going to continue to explore it so they can identify it. Mike discusses his date, right? He talks about the things he liked about her. She was pretty, she had a nice body, she had a nice smile or whatever. He talked about they had the same sense of humor. She was family oriented. She had a calming energy about herself. Like, he felt like if they ever had any issues, they'll be able to work through things like very maturely. When it came down to Shay answering, like, girl, how you felt about this, overall situation of him going on a date? And she was talking about how she was just really worried, but she had to reassure herself that, okay, he is not going to leave me for just one simple day. And I'm like, why are you so worried about this man leaving you? Let me tell you something. Because he doesn't provide her the emotional support. He doesn't give her the confidence. He does not assure her that this is actually going to be a long-term relationship. Like, he doesn't give her that at all. And because he's not giving you that, in my opinion, it's not going to happen for y'all. It's not. He's not giving you that in the beginning. Okay? I don't see him ever that's just who he is at this point. I don't see him changing, but hopefully we do. But I'm not seeing it at all. And it gives me the whole idea of where people say a man gonna change for who he want. And if we don't see this man changing, and you've been with this man this long and he ain't even tried to change, like, it ain't him. And that's okay. That's completely okay. And so Mike brings up the fact that she's brought that up in arguments as well, where it's like, are you going to leave me? Are you going to leave whenever they get into it? Whatever that's about. So Shay got some deeper issues that she has to work on as well about being left. And it makes me wonder, did the ex before him, did he leave you? Was he in and out with you? Which punctured you a lot as to why you're in and out with him. So I really hope to learn more about what's going on with Shay when it comes to that. And Shay turns around and says, but I am calm sometimes. I'm really calm. You know what I'm saying? I wish him the best. And Dr. Nicole said, you what? She was like, so that's what we doing? Okay, see, because now you playing. Now you being fake. Now you ain't keeping it real with yourself. So you don't want this man to be honest with you and let you know how he really feeling? And she was like, yeah, I want him to be honest or whatever, but I just felt like, I ain't want him to enjoy it, and it seemed like he did enjoy it. Okay. He enjoyed it. You went on a date last week. You said you enjoyed it. He didn't say he want to go marry her tomorrow. And see, you're afraid because your position is threatened. And once again, it's not solely Shay's fault for her feeling the way that she feels. He definitely has contributed to it. However, if she sold herself an idea on what this relationship is versus seeing the reality of it, she definitely has done some harm to herself. But y'all leave y'all comments below about that. And so Dr. Nicole asked him what his thoughts are. And he was like, well, I just feel like she's going to try to make me jealous or whatever. And she's going to try and get back at me. But you could tell even with that, he ain't phased. I don't care what she do. So when you are really hurting yourself more when you try and make him jealous. Because clearly he's telling you right now he's not going to care. He has shown you with his track record that he's not going to care. So, girl, I don't see it. I don't see it. So, Hollywood tells Dr. Nicole that he will not be going on another date with Bernicia because everything else she had going on was great, but she did not have a booty. And he's here for a woman with a booty. And I'm like, baby, move around, because Ashley ain't even got a booty. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Mike says that he's not going to go on another date with Riley because although the conversation was good, he had a good time with her. He says that he did not feel that initial spark. He said he's looking for something else, but that spark wasn't there. And I'm like, you looking for something else? And that spark wasn't there. Those key things make me be like, it's a bit shaky for me. I'm looking for something. You shouldn't really be looking for nothing else, okay? But what's his name? Hollywood said it made a lot of sense to me when Hollywood said, if I go on these dates and I see myself being really more attractive and I want to pursue more with another lady, then that lets me know I'm not ready to be married at all. That makes a lot of sense. But the fact that you say I'm looking for something else, it ain't looking too good for you, Shay. And at this point, I hope as I'm talking in this review that y'all not even together. So when it comes to the issues of the past, Mike says that he does feel that he's not fully connected with Shay. It has a lot to do with, his childhood, his parents, his mom, all that other stuff. He also speaks on the fact that Shay going in and out of his life definitely gave him the confirmation to continue to keep his wall up with her. Shay says that she's going to receive what he has to say, acknowledge what she has to say, and move forward from there. However, she's not going to allow him to continue to sit in that as it being an excuse. So Dr. Nicole is like, if you step on my foot, you don't get the right to tell me how long it hurts. And I'm kind of like, that's a bit shaky, right? I feel like she's right. But when Shay said, yeah, but after a year and the doctor said ain't nothing wrong with you, then really? So meaning if it's 2 years from now, okay, and you bringing this up again, I just feel like you doing this person and yourself a disservice that you haven't, or that person hasn't worked towards whatever those issues were at that point. Okay, just get up and go about your business then. You see what I'm saying? Like, that just makes no sense. So for her to use that as an example, like, if you step on my foot, you don't get to tell me how long it hurts. Girl, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And don't let me catch you out here at the club two-stepping. I may just say, girl, it don't hurt that bad. It do not hurt that bad. Why are you playing? Why are you lying? Okay? So when you can see him probably being affectionate or giving this energy or whatever to other people, then he could do it for you too. So whatever. I understood where Shay was coming from, but I also think like Mike you got some issues too. She got some issues. So it's not like all his issues are weighted on her because she walked in and out of his life. And if she's gonna work on those things, then I feel like he does not have the right to continue to throw that up in her face when she's actively working on those things. You can't use that as an excuse to not open up when she's making room for you to be open with her. At that point, it's going to be a choice that's not what you want to do. So when it comes to Ashley and Hollywood, Ashley says that one of the things from the past that's an issue for her is when he called off the wedding. And every time he tries to, like, that stopped her in her tracks. But every time he tries to do something good, it's always contradicted by something bad, and it really bothers her. And once again, Hollywood not being able to actually receive what it is that she says with an open ear begins to get upset and the huff and puff, and it be like, oh, well, we ain't even got to do this then. We ain't even got to do this. You don't want to be here. I'm telling you, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. We ain't even got to. And it's like, ain't nobody even say all that. Ain't nobody even say all that. Ain't nobody say all that. You taking it here and I'm still here, okay? Calm down. I'm just telling you what the issues are of the past that's bothering me today, which is preventing me from wanting to move forward in a marriage. I want to get to that place, but I have to work through some past issues. That's all I'm saying. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And you have to be okay with that because you contributed to that. Right? So, girl, Hollywood started flying off the handle. And when Dr. Nicole was trying to check him, you know, she said a man protects the temperature in his house. And I was like, well, that's a word. That's a word. That was cute. That was a good one. And Ashley over there like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And Hollywood like, you see this? You see this? She doing all the extra ad-libbing. I don't like that. And the doctor like, don't worry about her. Don't worry about her. So I'm seeing that Hollywood does not like to be wrong at all. It's like what he say goes. He has issues with taking in other people's opinion. Like, basically, Hollywood ain't never wrong. That's what it is. Like, Hollywood's never wrong. Always right, never wrong. Okay? Which I think prevents him from really hearing criticism from other people, especially about their relationship. I think that really bothers him. So he's gonna have to work on that internally. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person if this small thing over here is wrong. It's just that for me, I require X, Y, and Z. Are you able to do that or are you not? You know, just listen to me. Sometimes it don't even have to be anything big. It's just being there and knowing that you hear what she's saying. Just be there and just listen to her. Okay, and then knowing how to respond after that, should a response be required. So he just got, like, they both got things to work on because she had to check Ashley too. Okay, because Ashley was kind of getting a little crunk as if she wasn't the only person wrong. And girl, you was doing a lot too. Okay, y'all like to nitpick with each other. That's what y'all like. Y'all like to nitpick. And y'all don't get nowhere with that. Y'all don't get nowhere. It's like you go in that room, I ain't saying anything to you. You go in that room, I ain't saying anything to you. And then something gonna happen, and then y'all gonna be laughing, thinking it's funny, and then y'all gonna be falling back into the same order that y'all been following and never accomplishing anything. Okay? Y'all just fall back into the norm, and y'all still have no issues that were resolved, so they continue to show up and show up and show up because y'all never resolved them. But okay then, girl, good luck. So that's all I got for Put a Ring on It. Y'all leave y'all comments below. Let me know how y'all felt about episode 1 as well as episode 2. Let me know how you felt about the review. Again, I'm Jamie, that's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to share my videos, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.